It's awful because it doesn't include TQ activism. Fair enough. I guess I'm awful too. Sick.
And puberty blockers, they're completely reversible as well. If
Completely
a questioning person realises that...
Oh my god, we got one. Completely reversible.
I love you, Mary.
I got this person again, Just Mabes. I watched them. This person is there's someone called B or RKP that showed up in one of my lives when I was debating at someone called Katie. Showed up like erroneously claiming that it was a 2v1 against the other person when the other person was that person's friend, going off on me for not reading one fucking message they sent over a situation that happened a decent while ago now. This person is one of their toadies. Yeah, so yeah, there's a bit of a personal bias there. Let me be honest off the bat. However, I don't think I need to get personal because I have a pretty solid stance on this shit, you know? So we got Just Mabes in support of trans kids deserve better. Hashtag crick kids. Hashtag puberty blockers save lives, except the ones that they ruin, I guess. Don't know. Let's have a look. Oh wait, hang on. No. In this powerful video, we deep dive into the mission of Trans Kids Deserve Better, a courageous action group dedicated to advocating for transgender youth and their rights. In a time when transgender rights and healthcare are under attack, this organisation is committed to ensuring that transgender children and teens have the support, safety and opportunity they deserve. Join us as we explore the crucial work being done to protect trans kids from harmful policies, promote inclusive education, and provide mental health support to ensure that every trans child can live their authentic life. I can barely speak today. Transgender rights are human rights, and Trans Kids Deserve Better is leading the charge of positive change. Throughout this video, we'll highlight the importance of LGBTQ+ advocacy, gender-affirming care, and how we can create a world where every transgender child is loved and accepted. Whether you're a parent, ally, or advocate, this video is for anyone who believes in the right of trans youth to thrive and be themselves. Lovely.
Some grand experiment on kids for whatever reason to try and trick them into being some grand...
Oh, it actually starts like that. Okay, fair enough. Okay, we're good now. Very reputable. Yeah.
Some grand experiment on kids for whatever.
And I can already tell that this is some essentialized BS retelling of something that no one has actually ever said and no one actually thinks. I mean, it's very experimental. All of this shit is principally coming from one study called the Dutch Protocol, in which I think one person died. There's been lots of studies since. They've been very inconclusive because they tend to find different things. Some of the conclusions they come to are about things like suicidality, which can be nebulous and, you know, not very meaningful concepts. We had a recent study done by someone called Joanna Olson Kennedy that took like, was it 10 years? It cost like God knows how much money. And then she sat on the findings of it out of a fear of how it would be used politically, which, you know, let's all take a sec to think why Joanna Olson Kennedy might hide those results and complain about people potentially using them politically. I personally think that would not have fucking happened if the conclusions overwhelmingly matched what she wanted it to, you know? Yeah, sorry, Ginger Blaze. I'm very sorry.
Whatever reason to try and trick them into being trans or something stupid like that.
Yeah, do you know why that's stupid? Because no one thinks that. Like, yeah, maybe there has been people trying to trick each other into being trans, but in the main, that's not what happens, and no one really thinks so.
Puberty blockers save lives. Hey, so the...
Puberty blockers save lives, because this person said so. Listen, if you've got 101 subscribers, you obviously know what you're talking about, right?
There's this political action group in the UK for transgender rights that I've wanted to talk about for a couple of days now and really just praise them for the work they do. They've been established since, I believe it was July this year, when during Pride in London, which was on the 29th of June, they climbed the NHS headquarters in protest of the government's ban on puberty blockers.
Yep, that sounds idiotic, but go on.
Ultimately, the building was occupied for about 4 days by these protesters, who are almost entirely transgender teens and young adults.
You're not helping the case at making them not sound like grooming victims.
This group is called Trans Kids Deserve Better, who are, again, trans youths formed to protect trans youths and exist to protest the recent ban.
Youths. It rhymes with hooves, you see?
On puberty blockers for transgender youths. They also fight against the use of trans people being used as political pawns.
What does that mean? How are people like you not doing the same? No, actually, this person's literally done it to me, so fuck you. Sorry. That same Joanna Olsen Kennedy is also being sued by a young detransitioner named Clementine Breen. Oh yeah, I've heard little bits about that. Yeah. It's falling apart. Like, it's like driving the vehicle as all the nuts and bolts and shit start shaking themselves loose and falling out and all the bits come off. And these people insist on going down with the ship. No, it's not youbes with a B. It's youths with a V. It rhymes with hooves. You know how horses have hooves? And they walk around like this because they have odd toes? Don't bash people for the sounds they make with their mouths. No, I think I will, actually. It's all clear. If you agree with this person, then what it said is not controversial. These people can't conceive of anyone disagreeing for valid reasons, therefore they're right. Oh yeah, true, shit, I didn't think of that. Fuck. Well, I guess, this person is based now. Anyway.
And demands protection against misgendering and also dead naming.
Demand protection against misgendering and dead naming. That sounds insane to me. You're not obligated to the words out of others' mouths. How are you going to do that? You can't demand people say certain things and not say others. That's exactly how you get people against your movement. Like, that's crazy. I wouldn't dream. Ultimately, I would rather be referred to as a she than a he, but I would not dream of telling someone what they should refer to me as, because I don't have that right. I should not have the right to the words out of others' mouths. I shouldn't have the right to people's opinions. You know what I mean? I love the plural, the turf plural turves, like elves. Youths is new to me. The thing is, if you're not English and slightly common, then youths probably is new to you.
So yeah, they've got a great plan there. I love their mission too. I like how they were able to
Yeah, their mission against free speech is great, isn't it? No way this could go wrong and piss off literally everyone that isn't you.
To keep it concise to free plans. Again, something I've talked about a couple of times here is I do organise some pride events local to myself in Southampton, and it can feel like it can feel almost like you're trying to fight 10 different fights at once. So I really...
Yes, including your own people, and then you stalk them on Twitter and decide to kick them off for basically no reason. You just don't like free speech. That's fine. If that's your bag, that's fine. Like I said, there's previous. I'm not gonna pretend that's not the case and that maybe I will receive someone like this a little bit worse than I would normally. But I don't think I've been that mean so far, so fuck it.
Do appreciate from this smaller action group, rather than trying to become a charity or something like that, that they've got just 3 points that they're fighting for, and
yes, which are dumb. Like, you clearly do not understand why it is that puberty blockers have come under such scrutiny, and you can't justify the free speech shit. It's just mad. It's completely insane. You can't stop someone from thinking what they think. And many people think that there's sex and that gender is literally just the same. To me, gender is more derived from sex, sure. But you can't tell people to make exceptions in their own thinking for you. That's arrogant. And yes, that's very childish.
Since their formation, really, they've went from strength to strength. So in the UK, we have this really awful organisation called the LGB Alliance.
What's awful about them?
I think they're prevalent, maybe in America as well, and they exist almost...
This person's homophobic calling it now.
Purely to demean transgender people.
Is anyone watching me with the LGB Alliance or knows anything about them? Is that what they're about? Is that what they're about?
And try to disassociate trans people from the main LGBT movement, which is...
I mean, that part is potentially true, I guess, but we're just misrepresenting people. It's so easy to just lie about this subject because so many people will eat it up. Like, I'm sorry that you're one of the Johnny-come-latelys, honestly, because your shit is going to fall apart before you get anywhere with this shit. But, like, it's just so easy. It's awful because it doesn't include TQ activism. Fair enough. I guess I'm awful too. Sick. I would want this person to think I'm awful, to be honest. I don't know. Anyone spouting this kind of shit, yeah, I'm glad you think I'm awful. I'm glad you can go on my Twitter and deduce that despite the fact that no one is going to find it based on, like, my band name or anything, you should fuck off a trans person. Amazing. Amazing. Enjoy hanging out with fucking B. She's a fucking freak.
Why they're called the LGB Alliance. And really frustratingly, in about 2020, I think it
Well, I mean, they're probably called the LGB Alliance because it's largely about lesbians, gays, and bisexuals. I think that's probably more it, personally.
was, they got charity status in the UK. And since then, they've provided absolutely no help, no charity at all to lesbians, gays, or bisexuals.
Is that true? Is that true? Like, can I find, like, any of the initiatives they've run? Also, by the way, fighting the medicalization of children, kids who are, like, LGB, or, like, young people that are LGB, are more likely to transition. And all these kids have a very much non-zero chance of desisting their trans identity when they go through puberty. There's fucking studies about this shit. So I'd argue that off the bat, yes, they kind of are. They're trying to preserve these, like, lesbian, gay, and bisexual kids, some of whom transition because they can't accept their own sexuality. Like, tell me you don't know anything about these people whatsoever without telling me you don't know anything about these people. It's simple. I don't like the LGB Alliance. You probably know nothing about them then. Best practice, not private practice. Don't call me queer. Very based. I hate the word queer. Throw it in the bin. Disgusting. They're trying to push that gay teens aren't sick. Isn't that helping them some way? Is Alison Bailey. Alison Bailey was the one that did a non-criminal hate crime or something. non-criminal hate speech, was it? Like, I don't fucking know. Bizarre. Fucked up. LGB Alliance probably would get on better if TRAs didn't tear up their events and throw cockroaches and insects all over them. That is true, yeah. That is true. End conversion therapy.
And they've just existed pretty much to lobby against trans people.
That's a lie. That's a massive lie. It's not even against trans people. It's against medicalizing, like, children. Fucking hell. How do you not, like, read anything or listen to anything from someone that disagrees with you and just make up their positions for them? That's disgusting. Oh yeah, non-crime hate incident. There we go. Apparently there was a lot of non-crime hate incidents on my Twitter because, you know, no one can understand shit posting in this day and age, or at least no one below the age of about 32.
Well, in October of this year, the organisation, the LGB Alliance, they were having their annual conference, and Trans Kids Deserve Better actually infiltrated the annual conference and released about 6,000 crickets, I think it was.
Before we go any further, this person has said that they organise events. Now this person is going to go on and, you know, congratulate this act. This is like escalation. So presumably that means that if someone should decide to come to one of your events and throw crickets at all your people, then that's just fair enough because you all did it first. That's the escalation, and that's the other side retaliating. Now that's not a threat. I'm not doing any of that shit. I'm against all that shit. I would be against this shit if the LGB Alliance did it to some trans group that were just doing their own thing. It's the exact same shit. I'm not for any of that. But now there's been an escalation on one side. You run events. You're going to have to start thinking about whether someone's going to do this to you one day. And these are the people you're going to have to thank. So good job. Amazing. Now let's hear some radical slop.
In the conference completely shut it down to my knowledge, which is really hilarious.
That's not even true. That's not even true. You don't know anything. Why do you talk on YouTube when you know nothing about anything? They had to pause for a bit and clean it up, and then they carried on. What?
Hilarious there, and really powerful too. Again,
yeah, will it be hilarious if someone does it to you? Again, that'll just be the retaliation. The escalation was done by your side and you're congratulating it, so hey.
And this is a very large group that get a lot of financial support, and their conference was completely shut down by a bunch of teenagers with some crickets, which...
Not even true. Not even true. It was disturbed by them, sure. I don't want crickets being thrown all over me, you know. But that's why I don't do it to other people. And I condemn it when other people do it. Just like if the Escalation had been on the LGB Alliance's side and they'd done it to one of your events, I'd be condemning it because I don't think people should be throwing crickets at each other in a civilized world. That's fucking ridiculous. Well, no one think of the crickets. Well, no one seems to care about the crickets because they would have just been fed to snakes, even though now they have to breed even more crickets to feed to them instead. I don't know. I'm not big on this kind of wanton waste of life, but these people seem happy with it. And I bet this person's probably a fucking vegan as well. I don't know that, to be fair.
I absolutely love. Following that, they were referred to, I believe, as the Crick Kids for a little bit, which is quite funny.
Oh yeah, that's great. Let's give them a nickname over it. That's really great. Listen, when it happens to you, you deserve it. If it doesn't happen to you and it happens to someone else, if they've been congratulating this shit or putting out videos like this, they deserve it.
Me too. And then another thing is that the Harry Potter author turned transphobe online pretty much, called...
J.K. Rowling isn't transphobic. Maybe she is now. There's a vicious cycle that's going on nowadays. She didn't come out as a transphobe. This is just wrong. This is just untrue. I have watched so fucking many videos about J.K. Rowling and how transphobic she is. They're all bunk. You can watch ContraPoints. It's shit. You can watch someone at the bottom end of the fucking ladder. We've got both extremes. And it's shit. It's shit all the way down. Because they're all wrong. Unfortunately, that's how it is.
The Trans Kids Deserve Better group homophobic for the action that they could do. Which...
Well, yeah, that's the same thing you people do to the other side. Oh my god. Oh my god, I want to shoot myself. Why is everyone so stupid except me? Oh my god. Anyway.
It wasn't homophobic at all because, again, the LGB Alliance, they've not done anything to help gay...
Okay, I do not support throwing soup all over Kelly J. Keane either. I'm not a fan of Kelly J. Keane, which might surprise a lot of people because apparently I'm a TERF and I'm a terrible human being for having a Twitter account. But I'm not a fan. What did Rowling say to begin? Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't have time to explain, but like, she just has a difference of opinion, and that difference of opinion is something we were very invested in shutting down because we don't have any arguments. So we need to make sure we shut down anyone else that disagrees with us. That's what it is. This person is not woman. I'm not a woman. Male women don't exist. It's not a thing. We're all TERFs, yeah, I guess. Well, listen, I'm a TERF and I'm not really a fan of KJK, but don't throw soup on her. You shouldn't throw soup on anyone.
Gay people or such, so it's not homophobic.
So why is it transphobic? Why do you get to do that and they don't? Why is that? I've come to like the term TERF. I think it's cute. Fair enough. Listen, I'm not a fucking trans TERF. People can call me one if they want. It's not true, but hey.
Take down one of their conferences, but you know, JK's gonna JK. In the few short months that trans kids...
Yeah, but she's dumb, innit? Wow, great argument, amazing.
Kids Deserve Better have existed. They've done so much more activism, including protests outside West Streeton's constituency office, where they've been placing...
Oh yeah, because he hasn't had enough fucking harassment.
Little baby coffins to symbolise all the...
That's ghoulish.
The trans kids' lives that they're putting at risk right now with the...
You're not putting trans kids' lives at risk. Like, why can't we teach people to accept their gender and accept gender nonconformity a little more? Why can't we do that? Why instead do we have to terrorize fucking politicians who have to make hard decisions? It's gross.
The ban on puberty blockers. They're placing all these little coffins outside of the constituency office. They've been doing that for about 80 days, I believe now, which, again, is really good there. It's just a really creative form of peaceful protest that I don't think...
Is throwing insects at people peaceful protest? Maybe this is. I think it's gross, personally. I think we need to stop using the words trans and suicide in the same sentence constantly. There's a thing called suicide contagion. You might want to look it up. I think you might want to look up a fucking hell of a lot of things before you make another video, because you are deeply misinformed. If there's even enough informity of any kind to make you in any way informed. I don't think even misinformed is right. Just ignorant, just not knowing, just knowing nothing. Because if you're on the trans side, you don't have to. You just say the right things. Anyway.
A lot of other people would have thought about, to be honest. They also hosted just a couple of nights ago a die-in at Victoria Station, a really busy train station in...
What is this? It's disgusting. Are you going to seriously tell me there's no grooming from adults involved in this? I don't believe you. I do not believe you. This is not normal. And it's not a rational response. Like, there is more to life than not having your puberty. I'm sorry. Puberty is not a fucking death sentence. Why can't we tell more people that? Why are we trying to put these people in the ground? It's fucked. I actually get quite upset at this shit because I think it's fucked. And I think we're doing a lot of it ourselves. Like, man, I don't know. I'll keep thinking because I don't just want to respond emotionally to things. But at the same time, this is quite disgusting.
In London, again, to protest against the actions of the government, which threatens trans youngsters. So I just wanted...
Threatens trans youngsters. If you're any more vague, I wouldn't even be able to hear you.
To make this video to praise them, really. They've had praises from co-founders of Stonewall and also the Gay Liberation Front.
Yep, disgusting, probably groomers themselves. Most of these groups probably used to do good things, but there's no real causes to champion anymore. Yet they still want funding, they still want money. So they jump on smaller and smaller things that are more and more divisive, to the point where they're pushing trans kids, when lots of people think this is crazy. Like they're kicking themselves in the balls, quite frankly.
Two huge LGBT groups there for the past decades, really, since the trans rights, not the trans rights, since the LGBT rights movement.
Not the LGBT rights movement, it was the gay rights movement, and now it's trans rights. We're not the same thing. The acronym just exists so we can tag on to an actual issue because we have nothing. We have nothing.
Really took off there, and they've been praised by them too for just how assertive and also creative that their methods have been so far. So yeah, I just really wanted to support them tonight. And also it kind of goes into it kind of relates to another video that I did. I think it's at the time of recording, I think it was about 4 days ago or so now, which was about the Labour government's effect.
Oh my god, I watched it. It was terrible. Don't bother.
So far on transgender people, and if it has been helping at all. So this video has got a very strange number of dislikes and negative comments for some reason. I think it's being shared by some negative platforms maybe to trans people. I've had to hide a few of them that were particularly offensive for the sake of being offensive. Just
listen, I'm not claiming any responsibility.
Just in case any more vulnerable trans people would be looking at them, because I'm
not gonna lie, I got a bit nervous for a sec there, but I don't care. Tell the truth. You'll still get haters, but you'll know you're telling the truth, so you won't give a fuck. People hate on me a lot. I don't hide any of their comments because I'm not fucking scared of any of them.
don't want anyone else to get upset, I don't really care. But I've had to read a lot of stupid comments about how puberty blockers are the line for trans support, basically. But
that's true. That's how a lot of people feel, and you're calling them stupid. Like, why the fuck do you run pride events? Like, I'm baffled. Like, is this the best that fucking Southampton or wherever they said they are has to offer? Like, Jesus fucking Christ, good luck. I mean, I already know that fucking B person that is also involved in trans pride, and she's a fucking idiot. And I know that because she showed up in my fucking comments section and my chat. I can tell a lot pretty quickly from a person that appears in my chat, especially when they do the kind of shit that she did. And she wants to tell me like, oh, respect our existence or expect our resistance. Fuck off. I don't respect your existence because you're a fucking loser. It's got nothing to do with you being trans, supposedly.
If we dare to try and fight for trans kids in this country particularly, it's completely accepted in Europe, for example, and loads of
Centralized. Also, wouldn't speak too soon on that. Europe includes countries such as Sweden and Finland, and of course the UK itself. The stuff going on in Germany is not without its resistance. And ultimately, the places that are doing self-ID, we're not going to know straight away what the effect is. We have to wait. We have to see. And there's plenty of reason to think that what comes out of that is not going to be a good thing.
Other progressive places, if we dare to fight for their rights, then we'll get left behind or something like that by a bunch of transphobes. And
what does that even mean?
Yeah, my response to that is, again, that trans people do deserve puberty blockers. They are the gold standard treatment for transgender adolescents.
According to who? Gold standard?
They've been used internationally for decades. Many studies have proven
For precocious puberty, which is not the same thing. Why do people keep doing this? It doesn't matter. You get these fucking idiots on X that like, people like, does anyone know who Thomas Willett is? Or Pissed Off Lawyer? What they do, they ask really stupid questions. Things like, oh, can anyone explain to me how it's different, a trans kid taking puberty blockers and a precocious puberty kid taking puberty blockers? No one can explain it to me. And then what happens is, plenty of people do explain it to them very clearly and not being rude whatsoever. They ignore those comments. What they do is find the ones that they can like snark at and actually respond to because they're being hateful or something like that, and just conveniently ignore all the people telling the truth. It's gross. It's disgusting. It's horrible. I'm fucking disgusted that I'm a trans person and this is how we're doing things now. Absolutely disgusted. I didn't fucking transition because I wanted some kind of rights movement to attach myself to. I didn't transition because I thought, oh, if only children could like not go through puberty. I thought it was just like a personal thing, and now it's a fucking cult, and I resent that. I'm sorry.
Proven their effectiveness for the...
Yes, ink searcher, exactly. That's what they do. That's all they do. Ask stupid questions and then ignore the answers unless they can do something with that answer. Like if it's Pissed Off Lawyer, for example, just post that stupid fucking gif that just says huh over and over, which is very telling because he's extremely stupid. So he probably doesn't understand what anyone's saying anyway, you know? So that's probably very apt of him, in fact. I think we're talking about where is the line between wants and needs. Yeah, of course, yeah. But these people have a hard line. They will not even attempt to understand anyone else who has a different opinion to them, even though what their side is doing is also hurting kids. Puberty blockers save lives. Puberty blockers can also ruin lives. Please tell me you understand the very basic premise of that. Sorry, I need to stop sorting out. This person is doing my head in.
Reducing distress in transgender people.
Oh, hi, Arc TK41. Been binge watching your chant since your talk with Tread Logic. Appreciate your perspective. I'm on my way to an AA meeting. You're going to keep me company. Oh, cool. Good luck with it.
So they don't have to go through the puberty of the other gender, the other sex that they don't.
The other sex? The other gender? Gender is not an innate concept. The innateness of gender comes from the fact that it is derived from sex. Sex is what you are. If you go through a puberty, you go through the puberty of your sex. There is no going through the wrong puberty. That's not a thing. It doesn't exist. And it's pathologizing an extremely normal part of development, which, by the way, I went through. Presumably this person went through. We're still here. This person might actually be quite happy in their life. And hopefully, I think they're a bit of a fucking loser, but I don't actually hate them or anything. I'm doing okay. I could be doing a lot better, sure, but the point is that puberty in the wrong sex, even if it did exist, is not a death sentence. And we shouldn't treat it like one. We shouldn't be trying to rush people through these like crazy big decisions that leave them infertile and unable to do some of the things that normal people can do, that they might realize later in life that they wish they could. And hey, what happens if they can't handle the fact that they've made those changes and they can't do what they want now? What happens when they can't handle that? You know what I mean? What happens to them?
Identifiers and suffer from the worst of the gender dysphoria, and it can also help with distress of also gender questioning kids as well, who...
No, it's not a choice. It's not a choice. I know what you're going to say. It's not a choice when like 95% or something of people that take puberty blockers go on to hormones. It's not a choice. It's not time to think. It's not delaying it so that you can think about what you want to do. It's almost always just the next step. You've got social transition, you've got puberty blockers, you've got this, that, the next thing. They're all just one step in the chain.
Might well just realise that they're not trans, but just need that time to figure stuff out there, which stopping their puberty temporarily is able to provide. And
you don't know that at all.
Puberty blockers, they're completely reversible as well. If a questioning person realises that...
Oh my God, we got one. Completely reversible. 100% reversible. They're completely reversible. Yeah, you can take puberty blockers fucking from the age of like 14, let's say your puberty was a bit late. You can take them all the way to 25 and then have your puberty then, and it's completely reversible. I'm dying. This person has met the people from the art house. They used to push this shit. You probably don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine. I don't need to elaborate. That's where this shit comes from. There was a fucking cult HQ in that city. And I know this for a fucking fact because I used to follow them and I used to agree with them on stuff. And then they started saying crazy shit about how we should be fucking massively entitled and militant about our pronouns. And then they started saying crazy shit like puberty blockers are 100% reversible. It's not true. And you've been brainwashed by these people. They're fucking idiots. One of them is a woman fucking 10 years plus older than me that thinks she's non-binary and therefore trans and posts fucking selfies looking like a woman on social media on Trans Day of Visibility. You know how jarring it is watching people who are not trans pretend to be trans so they can get the victim points? It's gross. And you're one of their little fucking toadies. I understand. I understand perfectly. Thank you. I never have to watch you again. You're just one of those people. That's great. You and B can organize every shitty fucking trans pride you want and kick off anyone that has the slightest difference of opinion from you and shit posts on Twitter because they might be going through some shit that you don't really understand and you don't bother talking to them about because you don't give a fuck about trans people. Goodbye.